Welcome to this Candera CGI Studio tutorial. In this video, we'll take a quick tour through Scene Composer. When we first open Scene Composer, a welcome screen will pop up which highlights the new features and updates introduced in the latest used CGI Studio version. This helps us quickly understand what has been newly added or improved since the last version. There is also an option on this screen that we can untick if we do not want the welcome screen to appear the next time we open Scene Composer. Once it is unticked, the welcome screen will be skipped in future launches. We can also access the CGI Studio documentation from here. This documentation provides helpful guides and information on how to use Scene Composer and other CGI Studio tools effectively. Now, let's go back to Scene Composer. In the What's New section, we can find information about updates for each version of CGI Studio. Here, we'll see details about new features, bug fixes, and other improvements added in different releases. Since this is the current version, we can explore this section to learn what has been recently updated or improved. Here we can take a look and get familiar with the latest changes in CGI Studio. The available solutions are displayed as thumbnails, which makes it easy to recognize them visually. If we prefer a different view, we can switch to list display mode instead. This section also shows the most recently opened solution files, allowing us to quickly reopen our previous work. However, since this is the first time opening Scene Composer, there are no recent files displayed yet. At the bottom, we'll find sample solutions that we can explore. If we double-click a thumbnail, it will open that sample as a new solution. If we click it once, a link to the related sample documentation will appear. Each sample solution comes with its own documentation, which we can use as a reference to better understand how the project works. We can also create a new solution using the button in the footer. Another option is to use the File menu from the menu bar. When creating a new solution, we can click Next to go to the FBX file loading screen, or click Finish if we want to immediately create an empty solution. Alternatively, we can select from the recently opened solution files if we want to continue editing a previous project. Click the button to open the chosen solution. When we are connected to the internet, the latest information about Candera Japan and Candera GmbH will be displayed. If we click any of the hyperlinks, they will automatically open in our web browser. In this section, we'll take a look at the different features available in the menu bar. In the File menu, we can create a new solution or save the solution we are currently working on. This menu helps us to manage our projects easily. When we choose to create a new solution, the New Solution dialog will appear. Here, we need to enter a name for our solution. We can also select a solution template from the drop-down list depending on the type of project we want to create. Next, specify the location or path where the solution should be saved. Once everything is set, simply click Finish and the new solution will be created. Next, let's look at the Edit menu. In this menu, we can find useful functions such as undo, redo, or text search, which help us edit our work more easily. If we make a mistake or want to go back to the previous step, we can use the undo function. We can quickly do this also by pressing Ctrl+Z on your keyboard. Similarly, if we want to restore the action, we can use the redo function by pressing Ctrl+Y. These shortcuts make editing faster and more convenient. Next, let's look at the View menu. In this menu, we can open and manage different windows and panels available in Scene Composer. This allows us to customize the workspace based on our needs. We can also rearrange the panels by moving them around, creating a layout that is comfortable for us to work with. If we ever want to return to the original setup, we can simply restore the layout to its initial state. In the Platform menu, we can add displays and render targets for our project. This menu also allows us to view important system or platform information related to our setup. Let's look at the Shader menu. In this menu, we can add fragment shaders and vertex shaders, which are used to create visual effects. Later, we can combine these shaders to create shader programs. In the Scripts menu, we can create and validate Lua scripts. These scripts help us to control logic and add functionality to our project. The Import menu provides several options to bring resources into our solution. From here, we can import files such as FBX, GLTF, bitmaps, and fonts. In the Scene menu, we can add 2D scenes or 3D scenes to our project. We can also create animations and animation groups to add movement and dynamic behavior to objects. Using the State machine, we can design screen transitions that occur based on specific conditions. Finally, we can generate solution reports to view detailed information about everything included in our solution. In this section, we can add text translations that will be used in your solution. This is helpful when our project needs to support multiple languages. In the Help menu, we can find the product documentation, information about licenses, and other helpful resources. The Solution Explorer displays all the resources included in the currently open solution. It also shows the contents of the construction kit, which is the built-in library available in Scene Composer. The Import section contains all the resources that were brought into the project from outside Scene Composer. From the Solution Explorer, we can simply drag and drop items such as bitmaps or controls into the scene editor to start editing our scene. Once added, these items will also appear in the scene tree. The same drag and drop method works with the toolbox as well. For example, if we drag and drop a text button, it will automatically appear in the scene tree. We can also search across the entire Scene Composer to quickly find different items. For example, let's add a bitmap node, rename it, and then try searching for it. First, we'll move the image slightly in the scene. Then right-click the bitmap node, choose Rename, and change its name to Test001. This will help us locate it easily when using the search function. Controls, making it easier to locate specific items in Scene Composer. Now go to the search window and type Test001 into the search field. The search results will appear, and if we double-click the result, the corresponding bitmap node will automatically be selected in the scene. We can also use the search feature to find Toolbox. The output panel displays important messages from Scene Composer, including warnings, information, and error messages. This helps us to understand what is happening while working on our project. Similarly, the Problems window shows warnings, information, and errors that are specifically related to our current Scene Composer solution. The Scene Editor is the main workspace where we place our GUI components and arrange them to design our interface. We can easily drag and drop items directly from the Solution Explorer into the Scene Editor, such as a bitmap node. In the same way, we can also add 2D nodes from the toolbox, like a text node. Once these items are placed in the Scene Editor, you can edit their properties and customize them as needed. For example, when using a text node, we can simply type the text you want to display. In Scene Composer, a GUI is created by dragging and dropping nodes and controls into the scene. The Graph Dependency window shows the relationships and dependencies between different elements within a scene. This helps us to understand how various parts of the project are connected. Now, let's take a quick look at state machines in Scene Composer. The white circle represents the initial state. We can zoom in and out of the editor using the mouse wheel for better visibility. Next, drag two states into the State Machine Editor. Then connect them by drawing arrows, which represent the transition flow between states. We can rename both states and transitions in the Properties panel. Now, let's see how to configure control properties. First, drag and drop a text button from the toolbox into the Scene Editor. In the Properties window under the Control section, enter the text we want to display on the button. We can also customize the appearance. For example, scroll down and change the text color. Using the color picker, we can select a color. This makes it easy to create and customize text buttons. From the toolbox, we can place different elements such as cameras, groups, images, and text into a 2D scene. By using a group node, multiple 2D nodes can be grouped together for easier management. Additionally, by changing the layout type property, we can arrange the contents in the layout. Now, let's take a look at brush effects. First, place an image in the scene that we will modify using brush effects. Then, from the toolbox, drag and drop Bitmap Brush Color Blend onto the Bitmap node. After that, select Bitmap Brush Color Blend, choose the brush from the scene tree, and in the Properties panel, select a color using the color picker. This will apply a color effect to the image. Behaviors are small modules that can be attached to nodes to add functionality without writing code. We can also find default Lua scripts in the toolbox, which can be used for additional logic and interactions. In the Templates window, we will find user-defined controls, imported scenes from Photoshop, and many other ready-to-use templates. The Render Targets window shows the different render targets in the solution, the scene cameras assigned to them, and the displays used in the project. Now shader, it also lists the vertex shaders, fragment shaders, and shader programs available in the solution. Cope masks are used to control the visibility of nodes and cameras. Meanwhile, render statistics provide helpful information for optimization and performance measurement. Finally, the Properties window is where we can edit and adjust the settings of the selected node. With this, we conclude our introduction to the different windows and features in Scene Composer. This is the end of this tutorial video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.